It's been a long day without you, my friend. I will tell you about it when we meet again. That's literally exactly the state of affairs following the news of passing of the former Kaizer Chiefs SuperSport United South Africa. That was it
under 23 years.
Under 23 of South Africa. He turned up for teams in France. There is Strasbourg, and he also did make a turn go Manchester United. Those are the bad news of passing away of Michael Roy as Ace Nkambule. Modiba.
What a loss, and we never saw this one coming. I remember we once visited Ditlhake Masters while they were in action on the other side. I think
they were playing in Kepler Park.
Yes, I saw him there on the sideline. I think it was just replaced, and they had a fun winning the thrashing that team by more than, I think it was 6-1 if I remember very well. So this is where I felt.
And he was dazzling in the midfield.
He was dazzling in midfield, having an absolutely fantastic game on the day. So, and little do you know, I was reading Masebet Qina of Sokala Duma. He was with him. Very shattered about the passing of Michael Nkambule, to say last week he was with him, suddenly he's no more. So, and you look at how his profile is not that much, but at least you could see that he had an impact at Kaizer Chiefs, scoring 11 goals during his days back in 2003 for Kaizer Chiefs. Yes.
Which year was that?
2000 to 2003.
2000 up to 2003. That's when he was with Kaizer Chiefs.
Exactly. And during that particular confidence, as he continued with this journey with Kaizer Chiefs, he impressed the coach, under 23 coach Sarah Meletswaka. That's why in 2008 he invited him for a collab. Until 2010 he was always in the under 23 squad. So yes, things didn't go well abroad, but he came back, revived his career. He went on to play the likes of, you mentioned, SuperSport, and I'll also add Black Leopards as well. So this is where Michael Nkambule, but having seen him starting to become a legend, so we expected much from him as he was doing well at Ditlhake Masters. They really lost quite a quality player there. So, but may his soul rest in peace. We never saw this one coming, but as you know, life is always short, and the way it died tragically, we never expected that. So, but yeah, sad news indeed.
Oh, sad news indeed. Those are the sad news of passing of Michael Roy Ace Nkambule. Like Modiba has already mentioned, that he did turn up for mighty Kaizer Chiefs, so as the South Africa under 23 national side. He played for SuperSport United, Matsatsanza Apitori. At the inception of this segment, I also did mention that he also played Go Europe. Where did I get all this information about him playing Go Europe? I once hosted him in the podcast, which is a sports gig with the Sponelongobo. We hosted him there in the podcast. We spoke to him. Oh, one thing that I can tell you about him, he was a very shy guy, because even during that interview studio, we tried to make it as fun as possible, but Nkambule was always shy. He always kept that focused, shy and serious face, but off camera, yes, he can try and crack some jokes, but deep down, Nkambule was always a very, very shy guy indeed. One of the discussion, one of the things that he disclosed during that interview in the podcast is that yes, remember the days back in the days when Cristiano Ronaldo was playing for Manchester United. Yes, Nkambule was also invited by Manchester United at that time to come and train with Manchester United. So he was telling me all the stories that for Manchester United, you are not allowed to have breakfast at your own place. Every player must report into the clubhouse in the morning, just so that everyone gets to have the same breakfast, the whole team. So when they were having breakfast, he said he can't forget one of the days where at the dining hall he was seated right next to Cristiano Ronaldo in the dining hall. So just imagine sitting at dining hall, you are eating, and here's Cristiano Ronaldo. And that day, that was his first day training with the senior team, and after that breakfast they were gonna go in for the training session with Manchester United, including the legendary Cristiano Ronaldo. That's some of the stories that he shared with me. Still with the stories that he shared with me, and then he also played Go France. That is Strasbourg. If I remember, I think it was Strasbourg. I think Katlego Mphela also played for the very same team, if I'm not mistaken. Go France. He shared some of the moments, the treatment that if you're from Africa, that you happen to get go Europe. He told me that some of the European players, they were can you believe it, they were inducting him about microwave. They were asking him, does he know what is this for? How does the microwave how does the microwave work? Because they believed, those European players, that in Africa there are no microwaves, there are no cereals, those cereals and stuff. So they came to him and said, hey man, do you know how does this work? Even the shower, he told me that they came and explained to him about the shower, and he felt so offended. That's how much they think of people coming from Africa. Those are some of the very, very interesting stories that Michael Nkambule shared with us in the studio.
I was also sad about his upbringing. So he lost his mother while at a young age. I was listening to his interview with Josta Tlatla at his Njeze game. That's why he was raised by a grandmother. So, but I like the fact that the grandmothers, I always give big up to grandmothers to say whenever they, and also grandfathers, whenever they raise their children, grandchildren as well. So they always go in a right order. Some of the players currently, Mfundo Tikazi, I've always listened to this story.
Mfundo Vilakazi
as well. Mfundo Tikazi as well. Remember, he used to play at Mamkhize. He went to 6 stars. Now he's going to play for Cape Town City. He also stated the fact that he lost his mother at a young age, but he was raised by Ugogo. So, and the grandmother took care of him so well. When the grandmother passed away, he lost himself. He couldn't understand. He couldn't cope. His performance also went down. So big up to all those grandmothers, and to say, Michael Nkambule, may your soul continue to rest in peace. You've really showed us what is talent. This is how we saw it. I think also let's give credit to Coach Mushine Tukral by introducing it. Remember, Mushine Tukral took Kaizer Chiefs charge into 1999 until 2002, where he was chased away because he was struggling, until the later Dumitru took over after Ace Khumalo as well as Dr. Khumalo were interim coaches. Yeah, in 2002, after the dismissal of Mushine Tukral, then Dumitru came in. That was last time when we saw Michael Nkambule. I think this is where he got the offer, as we just mentioned, France.
I believe when he was the Kaizer Chiefs, I believe what did they win? They won MTN 8 top 8 at that time with Kaizer Chiefs. That is Michael Roy Ace Nkambule. Yeah, and then of late he was like Umatiba has already mentioned that he was turning up for the Hlage Masters. So one can just imagine the pain that the Hlage Masters players, management, and their chairman Ulebo Dihlage, that they are going through, because you remember that last weekend, I believe they were in Limpopo. They visited Limpopo, and then they came back on Sunday. So I believe that today they were scheduled to play in Randfontein, if I'm not mistaken. Then I saw last night on social media that that tournament, or that tonight's at this afternoon's encounters, that they've been called off due to that sudden loss of Michael Roy Ace Nkambule. So I can confirm that the Hlage Masters this weekend, they will definitely not be playing. They will be mourning the sudden passing of Michael Ace Nkambule, and I believe maybe next weekend as well. The Hlaka Masters, I don't see them playing because there's the likelihood the funeral might just take a place come next weekend. But we will definitely keep you posted. We'll try and find out what are the funeral arrangements, but I believe that news will only be shared maybe Monday or Tuesday. Today it's still definitely very early days indeed. So we'll get to hear what is the word from the Nkambule family, so as the Hlake Masters family with regard to the funeral arrangements. So we'll be following that story with keen interest exactly, and find out when will he be laid to rest. I can imagine the pain that some of the Hlake Masters players that are going through, the likes of Abo Innocent Mdledle, Abo Mbulelo Mabizela, Skapi Maladze. Talking of Skapi Maladze, him and Ace Nkambule, they both come from Davidton, and they've been childhood friends. Nabo Jabu Pule, they have been friends for a very long time, and surprise again, Skapi Maladze, so as Michael Ace Nkambule, both of them they are with the Hlake Masters. So one can just imagine the pain that Skapi Maladze is going through right now. Nabo Ojabu Pule and the rest of the Hlake Masters team. Their chairman Lepo Dihlake, Nabo TK, who also does a business for them behind the scenes. So it is a sad moment indeed, in as far as the Hlake Masters are concerned. So maybe I'll also be making a turn to the clubhouse straight after the show, and get to hear exactly where to from here, and then hopefully by midweek we'll be knowing exactly what's the way forward in as far as the funeral arrangements are concerned.
Indeed, yeah. I think that will do to the viewers out there. Keep watching, and we'll just dish out the information. And yeah, just a set day, Friday, when the news broke in is within the social media as well.
Yeah, and personally, I got the news. I had no clue. I got the news from TK. TK gave me a call, and he asked. Actually, he called me TK first. I didn't pick up the call, and I was busy at that time. And then I returned his call, and I said, "Hey, TK Sorman, I missed your call. I saw you were trying to get hold of me." And then the first question TK asked me, "Have you heard?" I just panicked from there. I said, "Okay, then that must be something very serious." If TK asked me, "Have you heard?" Then I start wondering, what is it that TK is asking me? Have I heard it? Then I said, "No, TK, I haven't heard any news. What is it? What's going on?" And then said, "Hey, man, Nkambule is late." Then I asked, "Hey, TK, why did you really have to spoil my weekend like that?" And I was so shattered when I got that.
You forgot to mention also Junior Kanye. I think they all.
Junior Kanye, Generation A1,
yes,
Davidson, and Giddy Buddies, and Junior Kanye as well. It's also got the Hlake Masters. So there are lots of childhood friends there, and they're still together from Davidson, Kaizer Chiefs, Abo under-23 national team. Now they're back together. Got the Hlake Masters so still enjoying football. So one can only imagine the pain that those players are going through. Indeed,
it's a sad moment. Indeed,
it is definitely a sad moment. That is the bad news of the passing of the late Michael Roy Ace Nkambule. He was born way back in 1988 and passed away yesterday, the 7th of August 2026. That makes him 37 years of age at the time of his passing. On our way to the studio, we spoke about this age. Oh, thank you very much to Louis Govender who brought us breakfast around the globe. That was between 8 and 10 o'clock this morning. And you are now tuning in to Sports Geek with Spanala Ngobo, co-piloting it with none other than Motiba Peter here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. And we do come to you live from our Linesa Studios, south of Johannesburg. Eko le Gauteng Maboneng Wanaga Khomalaita. Oh, yes, it is the 8th of August 2026, 8 of the 8th month. So if you are into betting and stuff, maybe, just maybe today, try your luck. 8 might just be your lucky number today. Surely, it cannot be the 8th day of the 8th month just for fun. Fella nje. Everything happens for a reason. So if you happen to play a lot tonight, just ensure that 8 is one of the numbers that you pick. Maybe we'll pick number 8, go on and pick number 18, and go ahead and pick number 28, 38, up to 48. Make sure that whatever that you do this afternoon, there is an 8 in your collection of selecting numbers for the lot, whether it's lot or Powerball, whatever it is.
If I were to ask you, does quick pick still applies? They used to send me home to the go and batch quick pick while Lotto was still also in the mist.
I think yeah, surely it still applies for the especially. Yeah, it's very helpful, especially for the people who are not too familiar with all the bettings and stuff. But today do not use quick pick. Take my advice. Just put a lot of 8 in that collection. Number 8, 18, 28, 38, 48. Something like everything to do with the 8. Or even better, double it. 8, 16, put in 24, 32. Yeah, just keep everything in the format 8. Okay. And come back and thank me later. Just few millions, 5 to 10 million will do for me. I'll be fine. I'll be sorted. You don't have to give me the whole 10 million. No, 3-5 million. No. Yeah. It will suit me. It will take me home. No, kanjani. Oh yes, at the summit on today's show, we'll definitely look at what's happening as far as Women Africa Cup of Nations is concerned. There is a WAFCON that's taking the center stage up in North Africa. To be exact, there is in Morocco. Morocco is the host. Talk of Morocco, oh boy, they've got an assignment tonight against our own ladies. That is Banyana. We will definitely kickstart the show by looking at that feature. What can we expect in as far as the Women Africa Cup of Nations is concerned, and also that encounter Banyana versus Morocco come tonight at 9 p.m. South African Standard Time, and that will be followed up by Betway Premiership. We'll look at what went down last weekend in as far as the opening games are concerned, and also what's taking the center stage this weekend. That is none other than the Betway Premier, that is the MTN 8 rather. Spanela, where is your mind this morning? It is the MTN 8 quarter finals. Will zoom in to those fixtures. It gets underway this afternoon, and also here in Johannesburg, just down the road here, there is also a big fixture. And on our way to the studio, there was already some road closures, and we're listening to the radio stations, and they were telling us about which roads will be open, will be closed in anticipation of that big encounter. Go Orlando Stadium. Kweskama Minzela is good. That is where Orlando Pirates they will be taking on the boys from KwaZulu-Natal. It's a Banana. That is Abafana Basse taking the Banana City Boys, if you like, but they go by the name of Durban City. So they will be doing a business. Don't forget what went down last season between the Orlando Pirates and Durban City. So, like they always say, it is gonna be rough this afternoon. Surely Orlando Pirates, they will love to stamp their authority and show Bosso Gimang and some other utterances. Motiba will tell you all that and more about their captain, Durban City captain, some utterances that he made in last season. We'll try and zoom into them as well and find out was he taken out of context context, what were those utterances all about, and we'll also let you make a call. Did they take Unganana out of context, or did he have a point after a role? And then after football, we'll also, while in football rather, we'll look also at what's happening as far as transfer news are concerned. And then after football, we'll go straight to rugby. Yes, the New Zealand, they are in town. They started their tour last night down in Cape Town, Kapa Lodum. And also don't forget the Springboks, they're also doing business. Come tonight, there is a 9 p.m. South African time. They're out in South America, Argentina, to be exact. Buenos Aires. That's where the Springboks will be coming to you from come tonight as they take on the home side, Los Pumas, Argentina, if you will. That game kicks off at 9 p.m. We'll also zoom in what's going on as far as Currie Cup is concerned. I believe we're on round 4 this weekend, if I am not mistaken. We'll also look what's happening as far as motorsport is concerned. And don't forget the Spa Nationals Netball League is also continuing down in Port Elizabeth. It is the schools this time around. It is big. It's happening. That's what's happening as far as Spa Netball League is concerned. I believe the hometown, the host town, it is none other than Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha, if you will. Before I go for the breather, Modiba, good morning and an official warm welcome.
Let me greet Usbo and our lovely Powen and our very own Palad there behind the scenes. And yeah, thanks for having us. And good morning once again to our very own viewers as well. You came in at the right time, and yeah, we've got a lot to dissect. What has taken place last weekend, midweek, and we also look ahead to this upcoming weekend. A lot is taking place. You just sit there, relax, and yeah, don't move a muscle, and yeah, don't despair. If you want to put it in simple terms, then we've got you covered.
Yes, don't move a muscle. When we return, we'll zoom into what is happening as far as women's football is concerned. There is a WAFCON that is taking the center stage up in North Africa, out in Morocco, and our girls, Banyana, they are doing business. Come tonight at 9 p.m. Go Morocco. It is the quarterfinals time. It is the crunch time. It is the knockout time. You blink, you lose. Let's go for a breather. When we return, more football news. We'll be talking Banyana.
You're listening.
Oh yes, there is an answer. We will find a way. Help us to put the past behind us. That is none other than PJ Powers, aka Thandeka. That's what South African fans nicknamed her. They nicknamed her Thandeka. What's this T? That is PJ Powers giving us the song titled "There Is an Answer." Regardless of whatever the challenges that you may be facing in life, like they always say, every cloud does have that silver lining. There is always an answer. There is always a solution for each and every challenge that you come across in life. We have seen people taking their lives when the going gets tough. That's definitely not an option. Yes, it might be a dark cloud, but believe you me, just zoom into that dark cloud. You will definitely see that silver lining, and just concentrate on that, and you'll definitely not regret it. Thank you very much. That was PJ Powers, aka Sister Thandeka, gave us the song titled "There Is an Answer." This is the 8th of August 2026. What does that mean? That simply means that it is the Women's Month. What a better way to start a show with a women artist. And let's start the show with women's sport. Let's talk Banyana, as they are anticipated to take on the host side come tonight. There is a Morocco in that Women's Africa Cup of Nations quarter final. What a tough assignment that is.
What a tough assignment, considering the fact that for us to qualify, we're under immense pressure to say we needed to win against Burkina Faso.
Calculators were out
to say it's a must win. What if
but you need favor elsewhere.
You need favor elsewhere from Ivory Coast as well as the
to beat Tanzania.
To beat Tanzania, and they did just winning us also by 2-1. And at some point I felt like maybe the game had ended draw, which means our journey in as far as AFCON is over. But then
that was going to be very disappointing.
That's also going to be very disappointing. At the same time, you look at Ivory Coast, will be saying we want to finish the group unbeaten because of we've beaten everyone in this group. So, and then they did just that. And then with us, we needed the individual brilliance of Thembi Kgatlana to score that goal. And in this first half, and what a way to put the ball in the back of the net. And this is how
unsettled
for the Burkina Faso, the Burkina Ben, if they call it as. And we felt at some point, let's give credit also to goalkeeper Kylian Swart. I think
he had a great game.
She had a great game. And
I must put a disclaimer. While on Kylian Swart, let me put a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I am not her fan. I am not a Kylian Swart fan.
Yeah.
But the performance that she displayed on the night, that distribution,
wow,
everything top notch. I can officially say, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I've changed allegiance. I believe Kylian Swart, considering her performance on the night, she might have just gained herself a new fan.
She keeps improving. She keeps proving critics wrong, because remember when we played in the World Cup,
I was one of the critics of her.
I was also one of them as well. I was questioning her level of dealing with the dead ball situation.
Her fitness as well.
Her fitness as well. Flat-footed. Always struggling with aerial balls. I think the goalkeeper coaches who are in charge there, let's give them credit to say they managed to improve the goalkeeper herself. I think Andile Dlamini as well needs to work on her confidence. You can't concede goals like that, especially against Tanzania. I was so disappointed. She looked so offish in that game to say, but why do you allow?
Maybe she's overconfident.
I think she's also overconfident. This was the concern that I saw. Look at the first goal that led to the deflection. You could have done better. She couldn't organize her defense. Second goal as well. It was worse because of talk about bitter pill to swallow, where we conceded the goal, where she conceded on the near post, and we never expected that, because Tanzania on the day, they didn't create so many chances. They played on transition. We created so many chances, but then we're not clinical. But all in all, Kylian Swart deserves credit in the day. For me, she was my man of the match. Great performance indeed. She was my man of the match. And
woman of the match.
Oh, by the way, woman of the match. We are used to men's football. You see, now it's making us a bit dumb. Yes, a women's football or player of the match. She was just impressive on the night for to carry us into the knockout stages, the quarterfinals, by the way. So let's see if we'll do well against Morocco, because of Morocco currently they are ranked 4th, we are ranked 2nd. So you could tell that on paper we stand an upper.
But they are playing at home.
But they are playing at
home.
Yes,
we beat them way back. When was it? 2020, 2022 or 2024 in the final.
Yes.
When we won the WAFCON.
Yes.
In the final, and it was also out in Morocco. We beat them in front of their home. In front of their home crowd. Surely tonight they will be looking for that sweet revenge.
It's a scratch game, definitely. And then you check the pressures also on them to say they are the hosts. So what do they need? They need to win as well.
And it's not only about winning, and that it also comes with the qualification for the World Cup.
You mentioned it off air to say the best 4 in the semi-finals will definitely play for the upcoming
Whoever
World Cup.
wins tonight
will
qualify for the World Cup.
For the World Cup. I think this is where this really should come in to say encourage the players to work hard, encourage the likes of Bambanani Mbane, who as well she was scrutinized by the fans to say how can you insult the fans like that. So fans will forever be there, but I like the fact that she swallowed her pride. She came in and apologized, and apology accepted from my side.
Oh yes,
I don't know, with the
also
fans.
from my side as well. Apology accepted.
Yeah,
Mbane, you can be rest assured. I forgive
what
you.
a player. So the likes of Nokolo Tsani as well, impressive in that WAFCON so far. So I think for me, Banyana also dealt with pressure. So as we spoke about calculators as well coming in. So I think it's a matter of them starting to increase their goal tally, because of what I don't like the great chances, but they are not converting them. They are only scoring 1 goal per match, which is not pleasing at all. But all in all, at least they managed 2 goals against Ivory Coast in that 2-all draw. So I think they need to make sure that they improve at the back. But having invited Kylian Swart, I could tell you even tonight she will be our impact player. So hopefully we can do well in that game against the very same host Morocco. So, but it's not gonna be easy. I think whoever scores here will definitely progress.
Oh yes, it will be a question of who can absorb pressure better. It is gonna be tough indeed. The home side, Morocco, they know exactly how dangerous South Africa can be in women's football. So Morocco definitely they will take the fight to our girls. Banyana. Just hope Banyana they will not park the bus. They must also equally take the game to the host and let the best team win on the night, because should they sit back, it is going to be tough indeed. I'm sure that stadium will be packed to the rafters with the home fans rooting and supporting Morocco's women's national team. Like Matebe has already mentioned, Okalen Swar, let's hope she will bring her a game. About Tembi Khatlane up front, Refilwe Ejane, Abo Bamanani Mbane, surely the bread winner, Abo Hilda Makhaya. Let's hope they will definitely bring on their A game. We need them more than before come tonight. It is the knockout stages, it is the quarter-finals. Like Amatebe has already mentioned, whoever wins tonight will get that automatic qualification for the FIFA World Cup, which is going to be held to come next year. So it is going to be a tough one indeed.
Very interesting. You mentioned something about the fans. During the week, I was invited by Power FM to with the host fans Mukari. We're speaking about the lack of fans because of the stadiums that they've been playing for. They are empty. Whereas Morocco, as the host, they seem to be filling up the stadium.
Yes, they do fill up.
There's something that we spoke about there to say what can improve that. So that I'm like, maybe it might be because of the fans. The tournament being hosted far outside, so I think also the marketing needs to improve on our side as South Africans as well. But it was just interesting topic we had midweek.
Oh yes, it is interesting indeed, especially if you were to come back to our South African fans and also look at our minister as well. Why do I say look at our minister? In the recent World Cup, we saw the minister's office organizing flight tickets, everything, accommodation for some of the fans to go and support Bafana Bafana in the recent World Cup.
Okay, yes.
But fast forward to the current Africa Cup of Nations, the women's Africa Cup of Nations, we haven't heard the minister saying anything. They've not organized anything for the fans to go and support Banyana. Not even a word. Maybe I missed out the memo, but I haven't heard the minister. I haven't heard the minister saying even one word about Banyana participating in the Africa Cup of Nations. And even today, they are playing a big game. It is a winner takes all. That should they win tonight, they'll get that automatic qualification to the World Cup. But no one has said anything from the minister, from the president's office. No one is saying anything. So it is quiet indeed. Like they always say, minister's silence is definitely very, very deafening indeed. So
but at least we are wearing our regalia.
At least we did our bit as South African fans. We are wearing our South African colours. So we'll be hoping that the girls, they will definitely make South Africa proud indeed again come tonight and make it to the World Cup once again.
Definitely. And on that note, good luck to them, and then let's give them the other upcoming fixtures as well. I think the game between Ivory Coast up against Algeria will open up the proceedings at 9 o'clock. So with our very own Banyana up against Morocco, the game will kickstart at 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock, do not despair. Stay awake, drink as many, if some of them they're related to coffee or energy drinks, for them to not to feel tipsy or feel asleep. So, and then tomorrow we've got Cameroon up against Nigeria. It's a tough one as well. The
tough one.
First on the rankings, that is Nigerians. I think we'll want to improve because if I'm not mistaken, they are the defending champions. So
yes, they are the defending champions.
They want to defend that title as well. So they are in for a tough assignment as well. And then we've got Malawi up against Ghana as well. Bakana ladies there. So 10 o'clock kickoff as well. Whereas the Cameroon up against Nigeria one will kickstart at 7 o'clock. Those are the quarterfinal fixtures. Whoever wins here will definitely qualify for the World Cup as well as the semi-finals. So it's an interesting one. And with some of the results that took place midweek, Algeria to qualify managed a 2-0 win against Kenya, and then Ivory Coast winning 2-1 against Tanzania in our group as well with Banyana. Malawi going down 2-1 against Zambia, and then Nigeria thrashing Egypt by 6-2. They call it half of Makanda. So it was just a WAFCON lessons from Nigeria, saying to them that we are still the defending champions. Do not forget that. So Cape Verde playing a 1-0 draw with Cameroon, as well as Mali playing 1-0 with Ghana. Those are the results in which some of the teams qualified, and also some of the teams. It was just a Hambakaya by the looks of things. So those are the fixtures and the results of the WAFCON. It's really interesting, and let's see if our coach Dr. Desiree Ellis will make sure that we qualify for the World Cup and then also take us to this semi-finals of this wonderful WAFCON, because of we should do better.
From international football and coming closer to home, that's when we'll be talking about Betway Premiership, so as the MTN 8, but we'll do that on the other side of this. So meaning that when we return, we'll still be talking football, but this time around we'll be keeping it local as lekker. Let's quick go for a breather. We'll continue on the other side of this, talking Betway Premiership, so as MTN 8 quarter finals.
Ever heard a baby bellow at the top of its lungs in a public place?
Thank you very much to La Mesla Charles Webster. They gave us that song titled Club Mix. And while this song was playing, you said something that you guys were saying back go Sishiko in Limpopo when this song was playing back in the days. What is it that you said?
We're saying Tsela
Chala Ridwe.
Very funny.
Oh yes, that's what Abo Motiva were saying back in the days. Limpopo to be exact, when this song was still the big thing in town. That was before our local Amapiano artist Kabza the Small. I believe he got the rights for this song, and then he gave it the South African vibe, the Amapiano vibe. He came up with his own lyrics. I believe they went on. Man, akasafuna ukhumula ubejava phezu kwetafula lapha Alexandra la 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 ngizomashkarana allo. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he went with the rhythm pretty well. There is a Kabza the Small. Yeah. He definitely did justice to this song with the lyrics that he came with. Yeah, kasafuna ukhumula ngizomashkarana or something like that. Ubejava phezu kwetafula lapha Alexandra la 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 ngizomashkarana. Yeah, that's
those were the days.
That is the South African version of this song. So surely, if you had this song, but you had the language behind, said, Aibo, what language is this exact? No. And then you went on, maybe you even went on and said, Aibo, these people, they stole Kabza the Small's song. No. They released it first. They did it first. And then Kabza the Small, I believe, then they did request some rights to put in his lyrics, the South African lyrics. And he also did justice to it, but the song, it dates all the way back. That is La Mesla Charles Webster's. They gave us that club mix. You are still tuning in to Sports Geek with Spanner Ngobo here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. You can always get in touch with us on our studio WhatsApp line number, which is 062-314-6371. Our studio hotline number is 062-314-6371. For advertising and marketing here on Nirvana World FM, don't forget that Shashi Singh is your go-to lady on 083-945-7664. That number again for advertising and marketing here on Nirvana World FM for Shashi Singh, it is 083-945-7664. Don't forget, we are there on socials. There is a social media platform. There's a TikTok and Facebook. We are there as Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. Talking of social media platform, I see Nomvula Amsane, who's also one of our presenters here on Nirvana World FM. She brings you encounters, gospel encounter, that's between 6 and 8 o'clock every Thursday evening. Yeah, I've just seen her there sending a shout out. Mvulo Lucius, we see you here on Sports Geek with Spanner Ngobo, co-piloting it with none other than Modiba Beta. We'll definitely be watching your show come Thursday next week, and that is between 6 and 8 o'clock. That is Nomvula Amsane. Talk of Nomvula Amsane. How maybe before we end the show, I must look for some of her songs, because by the way, Nomvula, she's an artist.
Wow.
She has released a lot of songs, and you guys, you know him as Mama Roti, as She also did amapiano Unamvula before she did the gospel thing. I will try and look for some amapiano song that was done by Nomvula Msane. It's not because not that it's unusual. Remember the Dr. Rebecca Malope, that you know is Dr. Rebecca Malope. Before as she switched to gospel, she did the bubblegum music. There was back in the days some of the songs that Rebecca Malope did. I believe mina ngizobathola ngiyabona bangazi angidlalisi ngento yami ayibo. Yeah, that's one of the songs that was done by Rebecca Malope,
Queen of Gospel.
Before she became the Queen of Gospel, before she switched to gospel. She was doing bubblegum. She was competing with the likes of about Brenda Fans, about Rebecca Malope, about Messi Pakela, about Zizi Congo, and what is what is this artist name? I'm looking. Okay, the lady that's married to Uashele Mhlope, the mother of Ebony. Yeah, she was Ebony back in the days. I was looking for that name. She was Ebony back. She was Ebony back in the days, and that is the mother of Abo Vuisile Ngobo that you see on the public broadcast and presenting sports. She's married to to the Maskandi artist Uashele Mhlope. There is Ebony back in the days. I believe towards the twilight of her career, Ebony, I believe she changed her stage name. She called herself Linda Khama, something like that.
Because her real name is Linda.
Yeah. She switched to Linda Khama. That's what she was using towards the twilight of her career. She stopped using Ebony, which was her stage name back in the day. We grew up knowing her as Ebony, but as she aged, she said, no, I cannot be Ebony anymore. Linda Khama now. So Unamvula, so she's not the only one who started with another genre and then switched to another genre. Before the end of the show, let me try and see if I cannot get one of Nomvula's amapiano or song, and then I'll play it for you.
And what I like about her show is that she does those shows on Thursdays. As you know, Thursdays
it's Sheila's Day.
Sheila's Day.
Sheila's Day, yes.
So
hey.
That's one thing I'm
fitting.
I'm pleased about her. It's so fitting with the day as well.
Oh yes, maybe you can give the credit to the management that they decided to put her show, her gospel show on Thursday, on the Sheila's Day. So fitting. Everything happens for a reason. Only here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. And we do come to you live from our Inessa studios, as always, here at Gole, Gauteng, Maboneng, Wanaga, Homa, later. Without any further ado, now let's dive straight to domestic football. Let's first look at the Betway Premiership results that took the center stage as the Betway Premiership got underway.
As you know, there was hype to say Orlando Pirates were the defending champions, just won the triple as well under coach Abdeslam Wadu. Mamelodi Sundowns, they couldn't play against Marumbo Gallants because they were still mourning the passing of Wujidin Adams. I think for now they seem to be better, and then they'll start playing their matches as well. And on that note, on Saturday we saw Orlando Pirates opening the proceedings as the defending champions against the newcomers, the Milford FC, that is coached by Klanti Popoma, the gynecologist himself. So this is where I think they dished out a good performance, but then on the day they were not clinical when they got their half chances at Milford FC, and this is where Orlando Pirates utilized their experience. We saw Milford FC conceding those free kicks at the edge of the box, and this is where Orlando Pirates punished them, cases of Oswin Apolis, and then towards the end of the game, Tsepa Moremi there stealing it home, putting the final nail in their coffin. So, but I think the coach was pleased with the performance of his team, Klanti Popoma, but unfortunately they weren't clinical. So with Orlando Pirates, started their life without Rele Mofokeng, and they managed to cope, although at some point under immense pressure because of Milford FC piled on the pressure in search of the equalizer, but they couldn't convert their chances. So all in all, Pirates deserve to win at their very own Orlando Amstel Arena. So with the other results, Amazulu there shocking Stellenbosch by an odd goal to nil. The goal scored from the penalty by Teminkosi Ngwenya there. So which for me, we look at Athazwane up against Gavin Hunt. They knew one another back at Kaizer Chiefs as well, as they were not in good terms during that time. So, and then Sekhukhune United managing a 1-0 victory against Durban City. Cedric Kaze against Karen Brand himself. his former colleague at Kaizer Chiefs, as they were both co-coaches. The game took place at Seshego because of it was said that Isikhulu United are unable to play their matches at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium because of the venue still under rehabilitation. This is where they forced to take their matches at the neutral venue in Seshego instead of old Peter Mokaba Stadium, because of the old Peter Mokaba Stadium is usually utilized by Polokwane City. But let's see as time progresses. So then Golden Arrows managed to play Chippa United, that is Brendan Waddle, up against Pitso Tlhata. This is where I also expected a stalemate because of both of them. They tactically they are almost similar on transition and make sure that they'll show that they put numbers behind the ball, players behind the ball, which is Pitso Tlhata as well as Brendan Truter. So the game ended goalless there with Golden Arrows playing at home, and Richards Bay managed to a 2-1 loss against Polokwane City. This is where Polokwane City, under the new coach Bayano Moloto, whom he was the assistant to Putumi Hafe. As Putumi Hafe has changed gears, left Polokwane City to go and join Marumo Gallants. So on that note, this is where we also had the news that the Umhlathuze Stadium, where Richards Bay hosted the same Polokwane City, has been banned by the PSL for the next coming 1 or 2 months. So hopefully,
the pitch was very poor.
The pitch was not in good, immaculate condition. So hopefully, after those banned close time, they'll cover the pitch and then they can go back to the venue. So I'm thinking that maybe they might take some of their matches to the Kings Olitini, where they used to play before they moved to Umhlathuze Sports Complex there. So Siwelele FC as well playing a 2-2 draw against TS Galaxy. This is where I saw a mumish from one of their goalkeepers, the TS Galaxy goalkeeper.
Yes.
So it was so funny because there was some bit of confusion. I even also saw your message to say, but maybe he was confused by the
yes.
rugby
Let's
lines.
talk about that.
So
Let's talk about that. Let's talk
I'm just reminding you of what transpired there at the Free State Stadium there, and then lastly as well, Kaizer Chiefs as well started brightly.
Before you go to that, let's talk about that goalkeeper incident. The goalkeeper was his name is Sipho Maseti.
Maseti, yes.
Sipho Maseti. They were playing at Vodacom Park Stadium,
yes.
Free State Stadium, and we know that stadium it's used for both football and rugby.
Yeah.
The previous day there was a Currie Cup match at Free State Stadium. So there were the lines, the rugby lines markings that were not fully removed. So talk to us about what is your take in as far as that incident is concerned. I think
for me, maybe the goalkeeper there lost concentration of the pitch.
Yes.
So you can blame him, you cannot blame him. I think for me it's 50-50.
Yes.
But then those lines should have been scrubbed up before the action could take place. But also the goalkeeper as well, I think leading to the Siwele's opener, I think he also made a blunder. I think him and the defender, because of given a break pass, instead of clearing the ball sideways, then the ball met one of the Percy Sledges who played Kaizer Chiefs last season. Then it directed to him and then it was in the back of the net. And I think for me, Bernard Parker was trying to give him a debut match, but at the same time, realizing that there was too much criticism with goalkeeper Iratape. Remember the one who was the tall one who was always in goals. So, but I think for me, those two howlers as well took him, and he was also red carded on that. So I think for me, Kolas Taylor, one of my friends there, so I think he also dished out a red card. But for me, I think the goalkeeper there was confused by the lines as well. So one may call it Mumish of the season or Mumish of the month. So it was just interesting incident that took place there.
Yes, from my side, definitely, maybe it's because I was a goalkeeper in my previous lifetime. I'll definitely defend the goalkeeper Sipho Maseti, because yes, surely he lost track. He wasn't sure where he was, but surely that line contributed. Regardless, even though he wasn't sure, he did check on the ground. He saw the line. He said, "Oh, okay, I'm still within my 18 area box." And then, because you could see the guy confidently collected the ball, so surely he was distracted.
That's so distracted. But also let's give credit to Bernard Parker, because of in that 10 minutes he introduced the era. It was reverse optional time, by the way, towards the end of the match. But they also managed to hold on 2-2. That's the full time score of that match. So Bernard Parker being brave to grab a point away from home. So I think for me that in future the stadium controllers should fix those lines before the action could take place.
The red card. Why the red card? When does one get a red card? I believe what is that thing that of yours? Dogso in demanding an obvious opportunity. Yes. But looking at that situation, it was the goalkeeper and the defender that was close to him. And then the attacking player was behind the defender. So does that warrant a red card? Because from where I'm seated, I don't think, let's say even if he was charged, at least a yellow card. Why yellow card? Because the attacking player was not in a goal scoring position. He was not, I don't think he was, from where I'm seated, I don't think he was denied a goal scoring position because there was cover, there was a defender. So it was the goalkeeper, the ball, the defender, only then the Swelele player. So from where I'm seated, even if the goalkeeper was at fault, at least give him the yellow card, because it's not that he denied the attacking player.
And it's not a one-on-one situation.
It was not a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It was not a one-on-one.
Which for me, it brought me memories to say, remember when Kraki Tafia was still the goalkeeper of Morocco Solos, there were instances where I think the Chiefs were crowned champions in 2004, where he also handled the ball outside the line, which was, that one it was reasonable because of it was him up against Shus Mushwe, which only Siba Mushwe, who so constantly trying to lob him, and then he handled the ball outside the...
That was intentional.
That was intentional.
That was intentional.
So with that one, I think...
That was intentional. He knew exactly where he was.
Yep.
But this one definitely...
There was cover.
And he didn't know. And it was not a one-on-one.
And he didn't foul any player for me.
Didn't foul any player. It was not a one-on-one. There was a defender close to him before the attacking player. So that supplement that the goalkeeper did not deny the attacking player any goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
That's my point. As fault as he was, I don't think that was a red card on those bases that he did not deny. If the attacking player was the one close to the ball, I think that was going to change my stance.
True.
But because he was behind the defender, for me, I don't think that warranted a red card.
I think I'll have a chat with him and ask him, why did you dish out a red?
Not a yellow card. Just bring in the Doxo into the equation.
Okay, right.
Bring the Doxo into the equation, because there, the goalkeeper Sipho Mazet did not deny the Swelele player any goal scoring opportunity.
And he could have kicked the ball outside. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but my main thing is there was a defender.
Yes.
There was a defender before the Celtics player. That was Swelele player.
The Swelele player, yes.
That's my argument.
Very complicated. So, and on that note, there are upcoming fixtures to look forward to. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think our viewers, they are opted for choice. So there's Chippa United at home against Richards Bay. Brandon Tuta playing against his former team. Richards Bay is coached by Ronnie Gabriel because of Papi Zotwane has left the club, has joined Cedric Kaze to be assistant coach of Sekhukhune United, by the way. So which means he's only working with Jomo, the Simoni Sokumeta there. So 7:30, all the matches will kickstart there Tuesday and Wednesday. We've got Marumo Gallants against Kruger United, and Marumo Gallants will be playing the first game of the season. Kruger United will want to redeem themselves for the win that loss against Kaizer Chiefs. Bologwane City will play Stellenbosch. Let's see if Bayano Moloto will get the second victory. Gavin Hunter is here to test the victory as well. And it's just assembled good players. We had the given Musimango, actually Dupree. I've joined the club as well. TS Galaxy up against Sundowns. I'm interested in this one, considering what Bernard Parker did last season. Dinayima Mlulis announced the league title as well. That 3-2 match at the Mbombela Stadium. On Wednesday, we've got Amazulu up against Orlando Pirates. As I've said it, that Amazulu has never beaten Orlando Pirates in the last 13 years. I think Athazwane there will be playing the game at Kings Park instead of Moses Mabhida like usual there. I think Orlando Pirates, as well as defending champions, will be looking to make it 2 out of 2. So I think also the MTN 8 will have a huge say. If they get to lose the MTN 8, the victor draw, I think it will have a huge say. But let's see if they'll continue with that dominance over Amazulu. Durban City up against Lamontville Golden Arrows. It's a KZN derby. Piso Dladla against his former team Durban City there. Very interesting one. Khalil Ben yourself looking for his second victory as well. Kaizer Chiefs up against Sekhukhune United. We all know what transpired last season at FNB, where Sekhukhune United thrashed Kaizer Chiefs 3-1 while they were coached by Eric Tinta. But this time around, it's their former coach Cedric Kaze up against Fernando da Cruz. So it's a mouth-watering encounter to look forward to midweek as well. Milford FC will welcome Siwelele. So it's going to be an interesting one. Klanti Popoma up against Lehlohonolo Siema. As you know, Siwelele FC, by the looks of things, they are in a building up process because of they almost released close to 20 players, which for me is just too much. So those are the upcoming midweek fixtures. and currently Kaizer Chiefs fans with the hype, they're top of the standings, and Orlando Pirates second. So there's too much to look forward to come midweek.
Oh yes, that's how things are standing as far as the Betway Premiership is concerned. And then this afternoon, it is definitely the Wafa MTN 8 Wafa last man standing.
You said something before we started the MTN 8 conversation. You spoke about Spananana of Durban City.
Yes.
And again, I like what he did by clearing the air to say, no, when he said Pirates is just a name, he meant to say that whenever they enter inside the pitch, it's 11 versus 11. But at the same time, fans with the hype stating that Mpumi Khoza, the son of Ivan Khoza, is not happy with that comment. And then also, he mentioned during the week that he's not afraid of Orlando Pirates again. So which makes this encounter very, very interesting come 3 o'clock in the afternoon to the viewers out there who will be looking to watch the encounter. So I'm looking at Cedric Kaze, should I say Kazin Ben yourself, how they held Orlando Pirates to a 1-0 draw at Kaizer Chiefs. Remember, well, there was a squabble between the Kaizer Chiefs, I want to make it call it the members fighting inside the pitch during that derby. I was at the venue. It was just out of order. So hopefully it's not the case this afternoon. I think for me, looking at how they've assembled players at Durban City, Augustine Serino, Trevor Mokoena, there are some of the players that I've seen from last season. The goalkeeper, remember, Darren Gitt has left, retired, and Frederick Asare had a superb game last season. Can he continue with that? Only time will tell. With Orlando Pirates, Sipho Chain, like usual, as you know, it's always done. It's been the darling of this MTN 8 for Orlando Pirates. Denying Mamelodi Sundowns those penalties, and then you look at Aswin Apollo is going to be key. There's a new member as well, Kabelo Khositsile. It's a replacement to Lebulemo Fukeng. So can it stand the test of time?
Dynamite player there.
What a talent. I think for me, the future looks bright. I was so impressed. We still have to see the likes of Kampani Lungu. Remember, formerly with Siwelele and Supersport. So he's yet to get into the field and don that Orlando Pirates colors. I think for me, it's going to be a lovely one. Tapa Muremu full of running. Yanela Mbotoma. And Orlando Pirates have also acquired the services of a Norway striker, Sebastian Pedestrian. So those are the permutations that we expect. But on paper, we all know Orlando Pirates, they're always good whenever they play at Orlando Amstel Arena. Will Durban City come up with a low block or come out and play? I think Orlando Pirates should. I'll predict Pirates to progress because Durban City, they're coming from a loss against Kukun United, which means they're not good travelers, but they can be able to defend well.
Oh yes, that's
so
how yes.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt there. So with the other fixtures as well, later on at 6 o'clock, Mamelodi Sundowns will host Polokwane City at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. Remember the own goal that they suffered Polokwane City against Sundowns at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. And then tomorrow, Amazulu will host the Stellenbosch. Should I say Amazulu will definitely welcome one of their neighbors. So at the Chatsworth Stadium, this is where they've taken their game. In fact, it's Kukun United at the Chatsworth Stadium. This is where it's going to be an interesting one. I think they'll want to progress as well. Then later on at 6 o'clock, the big one at the FNB Stadium, the big Calabash, Kaizer Chiefs welcoming Abafana Westende, that is Golden Arrows. We all know what transpired last season with those Mangoba complaining about the controversial goal Aiden McCarthy scored. There's never so many goals in this game, and I'm looking at Pitso Tlatla when he was at Durban City last season, how he lost 1-0 to Kaizer Chiefs. Tlodile brilliance there, so not so much. I think for me, a team that wins here will definitely progress. Kaizer Chiefs coming back to the MTN 8 after 2 years of not qualifying to the top 8, so which makes this fixtures very, very interesting.
Very, very interesting indeed. That's how things are standing as far as the MTN 8 is concerned. Wafa last man standing. It is the knockout stages. It is the quarter finals. Like Matiba rightfully mentioned, that Kaizer Chiefs, they had been absent from the MTN 8 for the past 2 seasons. The big question is, since they are back this season, what are they going to do about it? Will they bow out at the first hurdle, or will they go on all the way to the finals, and even better, go on and win the 2026 MTN 8 version? Only time will tell. But they've got Abafana from eThekwini Kakasini Banana, Golden Arrows, Abafana Westende to deal with. That is their first hurdle. And talk of that encounter, we saw what went down as far as social media is concerned. Golden Arrows, they do have their own podcast. They put up some very, very nasty post that we do not need in our country. It was some kind of hate speech or discrimination, and oh boy, knowing our South Africans, they came for them. It was a huge backlash, and in no time, Golden Arrows, they took down that post, which was it had a very, very bitter taste there indeed. It was very, very incompetent of them to post this and say such things about the Kaizer Chiefs player. I'm not going to mention his name for some reason, but whoever came up with that post from a Golden Arrows podcast, I don't know what was he thinking. Let's quick go for a breather. When we return, we'll be talking rugby. And then during this segment, I did mention that Nomvula Msane, before she switched to gospel music, before she turned Mama Mfundisi, she did have her Amapiano days. Like I said, she's not the only one. About Rebecca Malope, they started doing a bubblegum, competing about Brenda Fassie, and our Nomvula Msane as well. She started with Amapiano. Now she's doing a gospel. But I've decided to go and dig out and unearth that one of the songs that one of the Amapiano songs that she did back in the days. Here is the song by Nomvula Msane, Dawila featuring Nomvula Msane. They are giving us the song titled Themba Lami. Here it is. Here is Nomvula Msane and Dawila. Take us away. Oh yes, there is a Dawila rather featuring Nomvula Msane. They gave us that song Themba Lami. Oh yes, I did tell you that yes, Nomvula Msane, before she switched allegiance to gospel music, she was once an Amapiano artist. We danced to her tunes. We danced to her song. That is Nomvula Msane, who's also one of our presenters here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music, and she is on your wireless every Thursday evening. That's between 6 and 8 o'clock as she brings you those gospel related issues, gospel music. Oh boy, her gospel playlist is out of this world. It's ridiculously if I must say. That is Nomvula Msane, the song that we've just listened to. It's one of her songs, Amapiano song that was before she switched allegiance and became Mam Mfundisi. We are still tuning into Sports Geek with Spanel Ngobo, co-piloting it with none other than Motiba Peter here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. You can always get in touch with us on our studio WhatsApp line number, which is 062-314-6371. And for advertising and marketing, don't forget, Shashi Singh is your go-to lead on 083-945-7664. TikTok and Facebook, we are there as Nirvana World FM. You can always get in touch with us, and be rest assured, we'll definitely return your DMs, your PMs, whatever, your comments that you have to share with us on our socials. Without any further ado, let's dive straight to rugby. Let's first look at what went down in Cape Town. Ekapa Loduma, that's where the mighty All Blacks got their tour underway, building up to the greatest rivalry tour between All Blacks and the Springboks. But yesterday they had to take one of our South African franchises, that is DHL Stormers.
Definitely, and the game, unfortunately, DHL Stormers suffered a loss there by 21 points to 38, so which means All Blacks meant business. So I think in preparations to the upcoming match against our very own Springboks under the leadership of Rassie Erasmus, I think they'll also want to take out that anger to say, as the Springboks denied us an opportunity to be rugby world champions. But you know, as Springboks, as they are 4 times champions, they did it in style. So let's see, those preparations will play a huge part for them, but also on our other side. So I think for it's gonna be an interesting one. So but a lot is taking place, and in the other fixtures that are taking place come midweek, the very same All Blacks will take on the Hollywood Bad Sharks, and then also the Vodacom Bulls there on the 15th as well. So in preparations to the match against their very own Springboks. So it's well done to them for the victory yesterday against the DHL Stormers. The 21-38 was the final score as the very same All Blacks utilized experience and won that game.
Oh yes, that's how things are standing as far as the All Blacks tour in preparation for the big encounter against our national team. That is none other than the mighty Springboks. Talking of Springboks, I believe they are doing business out in Argentina. Come tonight at 9 p.m. South African time, they take on the South American side in the form and shape of Argentina, also known as Los Pumas. Madiba, what can you expect in that encounter come 9 p.m. tonight?
South Africa, as they are the hoodie team of these Argentinians.
Oh yes,
36 meetings.
Now that you are complaining.
So it seems like we're just expecting the obvious, because of I looked at the head-to-head. We've won 32 times from the 36 meetings we've had. So they've only won 3 times and a draw. So I realized that Rassie Erasmus has assembled what they call them, a tried and tested players in his lineup. I see the captain as well, Siya Kolisi, as the blind side number 6. He is available. I see the likes of Apel Elfas. Apel Elfas seems to be retaining his positions in the last 3 matches that we have played, which is good.
In that full-back position.
Full-back position, yes, definitely. So, and I also see Sasha Finberg Mugomezulu coming back from an injury, and he's so excited and looking forward to, in jubilant mood, looking forward to this upcoming match as well. So we've got Apelele Fasef just mentioned at full-back. There is Edwell van der Merwe there at number 14 in the right wing as well. There's inside the center there, we've got the Kenan Moody at number 13, and then we've got at number 12 the inside center Andre Esterhazen, and then at number 11 we've got Ethan Hooker as our left wing there, and Sasha Finberg Mugomezulu, like I've just mentioned him, our fly half there. And then at number 9 we've got Kobus Reynak, and then number 8 we've got Cameron Hanekom, and Elric Lowe there at number 7. Siya Kolisi, I've just mentioned him as well on the blind side. Number 5 we've got Lok Diacher there as a flanker, and 4 we've got Eben Etzebeth. At number 3 we've got Thomas Dutoit, and 2 Johan Grobelar, and at up front there we've got our very own Bonventer. So it's just mixture of 3 to 4 inexperienced players with the experienced players that they've seen it all. So I think we will just wallop them at their very own backyard by the looks of things. So on that note, it is good luck to our very own Springboks under the leadership of Coach Rassie Erasmus. So it's just been doing wonders for the country.
Oh yes, the best of luck to the world champions Amapogopogo as they lock horns with the Los Pumas. Argentina come tonight at 9 p.m. All the best of luck. But like rightful mention, somehow Springboks, they've completely made a light work of beating Argentina, and tonight we are not expecting anything less than a win, especially considering that they are building up to the mighty All Blacks, which is going to be a tough one indeed, because this is the last game that the Springboks are playing before they lock horns with their old foes in the form and shape of New Zealand. It is going to be a tough one indeed. So surely the Springboks, they'll definitely want to make winning a habit and continue with that habit from tonight and take it straight to the clash against New Zealand, because definitely Springboks, they cannot afford to lose at home, especially such a big encounter. The whole world stops and watch when these two giants lock horns. That is the mighty Springboks and the mighty All Blacks. There is a New Zealand for you. It is going to be an interesting one indeed. So surely come 9 p.m. you will definitely be rest assured that you'll be entertained by the Springboks as they lock horns with Argentina. One of the talking points as far as tonight's encounter is concerned is the return of fly half for Sasha Finberg Mugomezulu is back in the thick of things in that fly half position. In his absence, we've seen the likes of Andre Pollard, Vusi Moyo from KZN, Mane Leibok playing in that position, but come tonight she is back Ras Erasmus will get to see whether Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu is fully fit. Can he consider him in the match against the mighty All Blacks that will take the center stage here in South Africa? So it is going to be interesting indeed. And another talking point is the return of the duo. There is Captain Fantastic Siya Kolisi, who will be playing his first game since the Springboks season has started. So as the enforcer, the local jersey number 4, Eben Etzebeth, he will also be playing his first game. But if you ask me, you put me in the corner and ask me, were those injuries that were told about Siya Kolisi and Etzebeth genuine? Deep down, something tells me there were no injuries. That's me. That's me. There were no injuries. Ras Erasmus was just being Ras Erasmus singer, playing mind games, resting Siya Kolisi beno Eben Etzebeth, just managing their workload, keeping them fresh and ready for the All Blacks. How convenient that both of them all of a sudden they are back in tonight's game. At the same time, they got injured at the same time. Seriously? I corner Ras, I don't buy it. And they were rested to Ras Etzebeth beno Siya Kolisi. Not that I'm complaining that gave the youngsters a chance to see what they can offer. Moyo, we got to see them. Paul de Villiers, we got to see them. What can they offer in that position? That was very, very interesting indeed to see. Ras Erasmus is definitely spoiled for choice. He's got a lot of depth in as far as the mighty Springboks are concerned. And also seeing that even tonight's game, another guy that I'm happy to see is the Bon Fenter, that he will also is also in the starting lineup. But that is interesting indeed. So Ras Erasmus is definitely spoiled for choice as far as the mighty Springboks are concerned. Karikap, what's going on?
Also happening, there were results of the matches that took place last weekend. The DHL Stormers winning 36-28 against the Hollywood Best Sharks. The Fidelity ATT Lions winning 42-19. That's a thrashing in its own against the Vodacom Bulls. And then also the Salam Boland Cavaliers, they're losing 15-20 against the Erling Pumas. Those were the results. And then the standings as follows. All the three teams have played 3 matches, which means, like you rightfully said when you're giving us the menu of the show, that it is this weekend round 4 of the matches that will be taking place there, where Fidelity Lions are topping the standings with 12 points. I think there's not much gap there so far. Suzuki Krukas, the defending champions, at number 2 with 11 points, level with Toyota Cheetahs at number 3 with 11 points, and then the Boland Cavaliers at number 4 with 10 points, and then the DHL Stormers at number 5 with 9 points, the Erling Pumas at number 6 with 7 points, the Hollywood Best Sharks at number 7 with 6 points, and then the Vodacom Bulls completes the basement at number 8 with only 1 point. So they need to start improving as well. So with the fixtures that are taking place today as well as tomorrow, we've got 3 fixtures in action from now at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, as well as 4:45. At 1 o'clock, we've got Suzuki Krukas, the defending champions, against the Fidelity ATT Lions at the top of the clash battle, and at 1 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, we've got the Vodacom Bulls up against the Erling Pumas at 3 o'clock, and then later on at quarter to 6, we've got the Hollywood Best Sharks up against the Salam Boland Cavaliers. So let's see which team will be able to pick up points. So tomorrow only 1 match is taking place. That is the DHL Stormers up against the Toyota Cheetahs. The game of the action will kickstart at 3 o'clock. So to those who are interested in Currie Cup, these are the fixtures to look forward to. So it's an interesting one. Still early days, but the points are very crucial.
Oh yes, points are very, very crucial indeed. That is the Currie Cup. That's where South African rugby legends are born. Abo Siya Kolisi, abo Eben Etzebeth, abo Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu, Andre Pollard, Manele Bok, Cheslin Colby, abo Riyad Peters. All these players that you see of late who are the Springboks stars. That's where they started their career in this very, very same tournament. That is a Currie Cup. If I'm not mistaken, we are on the 87th edition of the Currie Cup. So you can see that Currie Cup has been around in as far as South African rugby is concerned. Let's quick go for a breather. When we return, we'll definitely be looking at netball and motor racing, and we'll be signing off straight after that. Here is Genesis, they give us the song titled Africa. Thank you very much to Genesis who gave us that song titled Africa. Oh yes, we are definitely approaching towards the end of our show. Like they always say, time flies when you're having fun, and we are having exactly that. But before we sign off, let's quickly check how do things are going as far as netball is concerned, which should be followed by motor racing.
Very true. Remember, we were also in Glasgow there for our very own
Commonwealth Games.
Yes,
2026.
Unfortunately, because we've expected our very own coach, Jenny van Dijk, to do well in that was it quarterfinals? Unfortunately, things didn't go according to plan. This is where we lost against Australia. So Australia progressed, and guess what? There was some bit of drama in the semi-finals where I never saw this one coming. Jamaica, of all the people, shocking the defending champions Australia. So in that game, it ended 46-45. So I'm like, oh, the game of sport is so cruel.
Yes.
So. Jamaica, we always beat Jamaica, but this time around they beat the big fish. If you beat the big fish, then you should be champions. But then it wasn't to be for them in the final. So you check as well again, the New Zealand as well were in action against the England, and this is where the New Zealand won 61-54 against England. And you check Jamaica winning 46-45 against Australia, and those were the semi-finals. And it came to a point where number 3 versus number 4, which means they are battling for a bronze medal. So on that note, we saw Australia in action against England in that number 3rd and 4th place. So at least they managed to redeem themselves, Australians, by winning the bronze medal, thrashing the very same England by 68 points to 50. So then it all came to the big one, the big final, where Jamaica managed to host New Zealand, but unfortunately Jamaica dropped the tempo. So I was so disappointed to say,
they started the game on the back foot. I watched that match, especially their goal shooter. Their goal shooter was... She didn't bring her A game, man.
I was so disappointed. You can't beat Australia but struggle in the final. Yes, I know the game of sport doesn't have the 4, but I think also the very same...
No, they didn't fight, man. They didn't bring their A game, man. Like I said, they started the game very, very slowly, very, very slowly. Their goal shooter, yes, their goal attacker, Ushani into back forward. Oh, yes, what a game she had. But their goal shooter wasn't happy, man. I wasn't happy.
Yeah, it was just on the day. I think the way they got carried away, complacency. If one
maybe fatigue. Also, beating a team like Australia, surely you have to. They stretch you out completely. I think they were tired. Their bodies did not recover fully, so there was an element of that fatigue.
Rustiness or fatigue, yes.
Fatigue, yes.
So let me just say fatigue, not rustiness, because of they've been day in, day out. So this is how the New Zealand were crowned champions, and that affected the standings of the...
And New Zealand, they became champions after how many? 16 years.
Yes, after decades.
16 years, if I'm not mistaken. That was way back in 2010, the last time New Zealand won the Commonwealth Games medal. So it's solid 16 years.
And those, if you check in the standings, they are number 1, Jamaica, number 2, as they were runners-up, and then the same Australians, they got the Prince, number 3, and then England, number 4, us, number 5. I think we repeated what we did in the World Cup.
Exactly where we are.
So where the water stand, I think it remains there at the same place. Yes. So Uganda at number 6 as well. So you check as well the overall rankings, world rankings. We are still at number 5. The same Australia, New Zealand. Australia still topping the standings. New Zealand number 2 with that victory in the Commonwealth Games. England at number 3. We've got Jamaica at number 4. Us South Africans at number 5. Then there's Uganda at number 6. Number 7 we've got the Wales. Number 8 the Tonga. Malawi number 9, and then Scotland completes the top 10 of this netball FIFA rankings. So I think it's hard luck. I think there's still room for improvement as far as looking at South Africa under the coach Jenny van Dijk, as well as Zanele Mtotana, her assistant coach. So all in all, it's well done to New Zealand, and we've got new champions after quite a while.
Oh yes, now moving on from netball straight to the race track. There is then we'll zoom into motorsport.
Yeah, because if we don't have motor racing will return to action on the week of the 23rd, because they've been taking a 1-month break. So hopefully the likes of your Yokomi Antonelli, your Max Verstappen, I think they'll recharge those batteries. Lewis Hamilton, they've ever improved Lewis Hamilton. I don't know if they will be carried away, those drivers, because we all know those laps that are very, very much long. So Oscar Piastri, Lando Lando Norris, the McLaren as well, so they need to improve as well. So let's see, because of this time we change our gears into motorsport, and in motorsport, United Kingdom MotoGP is the one taking place this weekend. As you know, last season it was Marco Bezzecchi who won this wonderful race, but this time around, let's see if the likes of your Marquez will be able to improve as far as the defending champions, his brother Alex Marquez as well, in the nick of things as well. You check again with other drivers as well, Fabio Di Giannantonio, those are some of the drivers I'm anticipating to do well. So, but in terms of the standings, George Martin tops the standings of the motorsport with 208 points, followed by Ogura there with 194 points. We've got number 3, the Marc Marquez, the defending champion, at number 4 with 190. I think he still has a chance to win because of this motorsport, as well as F1 motor racing will continue until the first week of December. I think this is where we'll definitely know who's the real champions in both accolades for motorsport and F1 motor racing. We've got Marco Bezzecchi there at number 4 with 186 points, and then Fabio Giannantonio completes the top 5 of the motorsport. So a lot is taking place. Sit down and relax, and yeah, we've got you covered. And that remote, you can choose to either watch rugby, motorsport, or also football as well, as we've got Banyana Banyana in action tonight as well.
Oh yes, so that's how we come to an end of our today's show. Like Modiba rightfully mentioned, reminded you that you are definitely spoiled for choice this afternoon as far as sports is concerned. Starting this afternoon at 3 p.m. it is definitely the MTN 80 Wafa Wafa just down the road here in Soweto, Amsterdam. On the Pirates, they will take on a Devon City. It is going to be a big one. It is going to be it's a crash game indeed. So it is going to be a tough one indeed. It is happening just down the road here, go Soweto at Orlando Stadium. And then in football, don't forget that come tonight, Banyana, they will be doing a business for South Africa. They will definitely be flying the South African flag sky high, and it is all very, very fitting, considering that it is the Women's Month. So they will definitely be doing for all the South African women. That is Banyana as they lock horns with Morocco come tonight. Kick off for that encounter. It is 9 p.m. South Africa, 10 p.m. rather, South African Standard Time. And let's hope the girls, they will definitely make the country proud. Still, then at 9 p.m. in rugby, don't forget that the Mighty Springboks, they will lock horns with the Argentina. That is at 9 p.m. Tonight, South African Standard Time. Amapogo, they will be doing it for the country. That's how things are standing as far as today's show is concerned. Modiba, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I've got something to say. I think before we depart the show, or should I say after we've departed the show, definitely we'll know who the new Bafana head coach. I heard that today there will be an announcement, and rumors spreading by is that Pitso Misimani might be the head coach, but I think we'll come and dish out to the listeners once the official announcement has been made. So on that note, it is Modiba Johannes Peter, and let's meet again, and this was Sports Geek.
Oh yes, it is definitely a Sports Geek indeed, with the Spanalangaba co-piloting it with none other than Modiba Peter, and we do this every Saturday morning between 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Here on Nirvana World FM, your beat, your music. But today we did change things around, and now that we are complaining, it just suits us just fine. We can get to have an early afternoon, an early weekend as well, and we can go and start preparing for Amapra stand in anticipation of what Amapogo will do tonight for South Africa. So as Banyana flying the South African flag sky high. Till then, I am Spanela Ngobo, and it is
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lovely afternoon.
We will see you next time.